was in 2000, and I was able to get my license in 97, I think. But
Hey, well, folks, I just want to interject, though. I'm learning so much about Kai Madsen here. He is the magic man, the guy that makes magic happen here at the Christmas Cheerboard. But I know you have so many volunteers. But I didn't know, a pilot.
yeah.
Oh.
But now to really make it interesting, it was the pilot of an aircraft with no motor. In other words, it was a glider. So it's one of those where when you come into land, you only have one try at it because
Yeah, there's no
otherwise
redo.
you don't go around. No.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh, my
but,
goodness.
Yeah, I
Kai.
did that for quite a number of years.
Well, hey, I mean, that's energy efficient now.
Well,
Right
it
on.
is.
Yeah.
Except you can't really go too far.
Good thing Santa's sleigh isn't
Yeah.
a glider. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So glad to see you again, Rana.
It's good to be
You've been
back.
away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
I was out doing my work,
Yes.
traveling. Was
Yes.
in Ottawa. I'm not a big fan.
why?
I just don't like. No offense. I mean, I know people.
Yes.
There's a lot of positive about it. But personally, I feel so suffocated every time I go.
Is it because it's the political hub of Canada?
You know what it is, and I feel like it takes me back to moments where I just I'm like, oh. So, but yeah, so good company, good people. It was the Assembly of First Nations, always amazing. Had great times. The company was brilliant, but then I was so happy to come home after a week. So
We're always happy to come home.
I'm
aren't we?
always. I mean,
Yes.
literally, there's no place like Winnipeg. There's no place like Manitoba.
Besides that, they have a Grinch.
They do.
No, they have a Grinch in Ottawa. Didn't you hear about that?
No.
Oh.
Some guy decided that it didn't look right for this man to have a skating rink for his kids in his backyard.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
Oh,
filed a
yeah.
complaint with the city.
There's
No.
one in every neighborhood, isn't there?
And it's three little gals
I know.
in this family with a
Like,
rink. That's
So you
silly.
want them inside playing video games?
Yeah.
Like, I don't
Oh,
understand.
no, don't get Susie
No.
started
I don't
on that.
understand.
I don't
It's just
either.
so
Yeah.
hard.
Lumps of coal
Yeah.
for that person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways,
Absolutely.
Naughty list.
I'm glad the Grinch is in Ottawa, not Winnipeg.
Yes.
No, fair enough.
Well, and Susie, sorry, fashion statement here. I love the glasses.
I
Oh
know,
my goodness,
so
girl. They're
It was,
gorgeous.
thank you. It was a much needed change. I can
Yes.
finally see. I can
Oh.
read that sign over there.
Yeah.
What a revelation these
Oh, I
glasses
was looking
You
are.
got
at
a car?
the frames.
Yes,
I know.
Oh,
yes,
well
but I
then-
can see close. I just couldn't see far.
Well, that
you
makes
know?
it even worse
So-
in the car.
Well, I can see lights. I can see the stoplights and the car in front of me. But reading signs was proving challenging,
Yes.
so I'm glad to have them now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Well,
now we have me and you both into our new glasses phase.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an age thing.
It is an age thing.
I'm telling you, it hit me the
Let's
minute
not
I hit
go in
40.
that
It's
area.
not going
Well, I mean, Kai's been wearing glasses since what, you were 3. So, I mean,
Almost,
no.
yeah.
I mean, so getting back to you, thank you so much for spending a little time with us.
Oh,
And
it's
we
my
just
pleasure.
missed the full lineup behind us. I mean, you've got your volunteers here, but this is a time of year, right? School children are coming, lots of volunteers. How are things going for the cheerboard?
Well, it's going reasonably well. I mean, we're never really sort of comfortably saying things are good
Yeah.
till after. So,
I know, yeah.
And we still have hampers to deliver. We
Yeah.
still have to raise some money, and but you know, the new warehouse was a bit of a challenge,
Yes.
but it was really unique, and it was really a golden opportunity to sort of bring the team together.
I know,
Yeah,
yes.
it's
Because
been wonderful.
everybody's in the open here, everything.
Absolutely.
Well,
so it's kind of
and not only that, but
Great space.
But because this is about a third smaller than what we're accustomed to, you're a little
Yes.
closer to everybody.
Yep.
And in addition to that, you also have to think a bit more. And human nature says that if you've got lots of room, you sort of become a little bit complacent.
Yes, you spread out.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this way, they've been challenged, and you know what? They've done an awesome job.
Well, oh, and I hate to say that we're taking up a little bit of space today. But, I mean, Kai was telling me, girls, that on one Saturday, 6,000 hampers were handed out.
no,
How many?
We have 1,000, but we
1,000?
have 6,000 that we have to get.
Oh,
Picked up.
okay, yeah. But even 1,000
lot of
on one Saturday is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And that people are actually coming here, right, to pick up their hampers more.
Yeah, and it's really their choice.
Yeah?
What we do is, what happens is that some people are in the midst of moving. They're with a friend for a couple of weeks and another friend a couple of weeks, and so they get uptight and concerned. Are we able to maintain our records to the point where we can actually deliver it?
Yeah.
So we give them the choice. The choice is, well, we think we can keep track of you, but if you're antsy and you're concerned, come down, pick up your own hamper, and away we go.
You can
I hear
them.
the carols.
Yes, so they're so beautiful.
I feel like the kids are going to join us at some point.
I'm hoping.
I
They're
hope
having
so
their milk and
too.
cookies after all the hard work they did.
Yeah.
Question for you, how long has the cheerboard been going on, as you will know? This
Since
answer.
1919.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
it was
It's the
originally...
100th anniversary next year.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
And
wow.
somebody else's anniversary next
Next
year.
What kind of anniversary?
50.
Wow.
50 for me. Yeah,
Oh,
50
wonderful.
Christmases. And so this is number 49.
Aw.
Wow.
It's been, well, it's been a wonderful road, because what happens is that you get so involved in your community that you see all the good things. You also see the bad things, but you tend to focus more on the good things. And when I came to Winnipeg in the fall of 1970, I didn't know a single person. And so I said, well, in my job, I need to get involved. And so here we are, 49
I
Christmases.
think it's safe to say everyone knows who you are now.
Yeah,
Yeah, they do.
absolutely. But
Yeah.
I feel like there should be, I think that, a lot of us owe you a thank you
No.
for the work that you do and your contributions
Yes.
to the community.
Yes, Kai.
And,
Yes.
No,
it's not everybody who does this type of thing.
No,
so
I
it's
realize
well
that, but I look at it the
appreciated.
other way. There's not everyone has had the opportunity that I have, and I consider it an opportunity. And the involvement in my community has allowed me to do things that probably many people will never even dream of being able to do. So, I thank the community for letting me do this.
But can you imagine, all right, same job, holding a job for
Yeah.
50 years? I mean, and the changes that he has seen.
I would
like,
imagine.
Even the hampers and what goes, the
What goes
basics have
in them.
always been
Yeah.
there, the food.
Yeah.
But even that has changed.
Yes.
And now how people donate too. Because Susie, I'm sure your kids all the time, I remember our kids through schools helping out
Yes.
with the cheerboard.
Yeah.
And how that still remains. But what has stuck out in your mind, Kai, in all of these years on how things have changed?
There's so many things. It's hard to zero in on one particular one, but the kids are, because we really understand that it's not easy for kids to really get involved in a project of any kind, other than usually, and it becomes almost meaningless. Not that I'm taking anything away, but quite often kids will say, "Go and pick up the garbage," or in the schoolyard or something
Right.
like that. This is far more hands-on, and so the kids get a much better sense of what the world's all about, really. And besides that, they do a much better job of packing hampers than I do.
They're diligent, are they?
Oh, and they're fast.
Well, and then
they
fun-
don't complain.
And we're
No.
watching them. They, they're singing and they just seem so excited. It feels like you're kind of still bringing people together for. There's
Yeah.
something about that part of it as well.
And the school spirit, I'm sure that does
Yeah.
something for them too.
Well,
Yeah.
and the whole school scene has somewhat changed. Now you have to have community service in order to get the various promotions along the way, and this is part of their community service.
Yes.
And they do a wonderful job, but it's also they get a half day off from school,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely.
so.
Yes, that still
Anything to get
happens.
out of the
Anything.
building.
Yeah. But they have to come down and be supervised by someone from the school. They have to be signed
Yeah,
off.
I've seen the school buses parked outside because I'm in this area all the time, so I've seen them and I've seen their, trudging in,
yes,
and they're
yeah.
very excited, and yeah, it's nice.
And then to be somewhat selfish in this, we need to get our message out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, the message is much, much easier to get out there
Through.
with school kids
Yes.
as opposed to us old fogies. So,
What? No
Yeah,
social
those
media?
kids.
You don't put
Well,
tweets
we do,
out all
but-
the time? And hashtag Kai and hashtag
no, I'll
cheerboard?
tell you what, I only just a month or so ago graduated from a flip phone. And guess what? It's not fun.
How are you managing that?
Not well.
That is, it's all about the finger movement.
Get one of those school kids to show you how to use it. They're geniuses.
No, I have a couple of ladies that work with me. I just throw my hands in the air.
Yeah.
It's not that I can't, find the key.
Yeah.
It's my finger. Even though I have small fingers, I always end up getting the wrong letter.
That's
Well,
funny.
even that technology, though, too. Even how you can kind of communicate now instantly to volunteers, for hamper pickup. Everybody has a phone. I mean, way back then, there was nothing.
Although,
There's paper and like check off.
I know.
Bob did this.
There are days where I reflect and long
Yeah.
for the old days.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And, I think the technology that we have nowadays, and I'll philosophize here, but you know, I think we're almost too connected now. And unfortunately, what that does, it removes that personal connection that
Yeah.
we have. And we can see that to some extent on our donations. It's almost counterintuitive when you say, well, it's easier to make donations now. And they're right, it is, because we can do it with an e-transfer or go to a website and do any number of ways. But in the old days, it was they'd come in and say, hi, Kai, how are things going? Have a cup of coffee. They'd talk about our kids and is there anything we can do in the way? So
There
in
was
other
a
words,
relationship.
it was a relationship. That relationship, it's still there, but the loyalty and that connection is not as strong. You know.
So
And
getting the kids in here, seeing things happening and being a part of it is much easier than a Snapchat video, I'm sure.
You betcha.
That's right. I
got
hear
it.
you. I hear you.
You read between the lines.
So I mean that also gets like even the whole way that we can do shopping now and stuff like that. But like you're saying, like you know, a couple can come in and bring their $20 bill, put it in your hand, sit down. That $20 bill is going to remind you or mean so much more, right? Than an e-transfer or. But even shopping now, you have the packages delivered to your home.
It is.
You don't have
But there's
that.
another aspect to this, and that is that when people sit down, and I don't want them to stop sitting down and doing
Yeah.
things online, but they're being, not attacked, but they're being attracted by so many other very worthwhile.
Absolutely.
You know, but now it's like there's 10,000, you know, or more, and so now they're being sort of pulled.
So yeah, Susie, maybe you can talk about this. So it's common knowledge now, the art of personal advertising. So when you go onto a website or if you're a shopper online, they know what you like. So when you go to something else, ads pop up for Aldo's or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's all personalized, right? And
Personalized.
retargeted in many cases. Yeah. But I know what you're saying in terms of we're commoditizing everything and even the transaction.
Yes.
And for me, it's funny because I work in this space, in digital space, but I don't necessarily like it either. I still like to go to the store. I still like to go shopping. I still like to go to a checkout person and have a conversation like,
Absolutely.
how's your day? How,
Yep,
you know, what's
yep.
you do in the store? All those things because we're losing those little personal touches. And
And I think that's sad.
and
It is.
I have
Yeah.
problems with the self-checkouts. They hate me. They
but you
beep
can-
at me. They never
Oh,
work
me
for
too.
me.
I
Yeah,
don't think
so
I've ever succeeded through a self-checkout.
I'd just
ever.
rather chat with a person.
Me too.
and
I
have
don't want
it
to sound
solved
like
for
I'm
me.
a paranoid about this, but I also think that there's a huge danger attached to it. The connectivity can be activated, by someone with bad things in mind.
Oh, yeah.
And so as a result, because we are human beings, so we can be led to some degree. And if somebody wants to lead some
Yeah.
people, all they need is half a dozen or
Oh,
so,
absolutely.
and then bingo.
And you have to think that in this day and age when we are so attached to devices and convenience and having things delivered and stuff, there are probably people who can go days without actually speaking to another person because you're not using your phone anymore to contact people. You're maybe sending an email or using Twitter or Facebook to handle a customer service issue. That we are losing that human connectivity. So I can completely understand and 100% relate to how these types of events, even though it's kind of a bit of crisis mode, when we're working together towards a common good, that's when we feel most human, perhaps, right?
We're also far more efficient
Yes.
if we work together.
Yes, you can't automate compassion. I
No.
think
No,
sometimes
no. That's
right.
there's a certain
that's
human
a good-
touch that
for
has
sure.
to come with that. Yeah.
So,
And that's the way we should keep it.
now, I don't
And
want
think
to
it's
change
important.
things,
Yeah.
because I understand there are huge values as well.
I hear you, yes, and I think it's very important for our children to come in and to have that human connection and to realize what they're doing and to have empathy for others and realize what kind of contributions they can make personally, not
it's a
just
balance.
behind a phone, for sure.
One of the things, I quite often have to give little speeches here and there, and one of the things that I really stress is that we don't attach enough significance to one skill. You can be a PhD or an MBA or what have you, But if you don't have people skills, you're missing a really, really major component of who you
agree.
could be.
Yeah.
And so, having the kids here involved as a team, but still individuals,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
providing the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely.
So for you, Kai, though, I mean, we talk, at Winnipeg Harvest, and it'd be like, oh, well, to stop hunger and there'll be no more need for harvest. You look at what the cheerboard is now 100 years old. It's cheer, though, right? It's compassion. It's a little bit more than just receiving a box of goods.
Well,
It's about care.
The way I look at the whole idea, number one, it was
They're
started.
going to talk a little louder because the guys are bugging
They're
you.
busy.
They're
Oh,
beeping you.
Yeah,
they're
I
doing
love
that on
it.
purpose.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, I know. Well, I
But-
would have fun on that little
I
cat.
know, I know.
You have to have a license,
Oh.
But, yeah, you do. But one of the things that you have to keep in mind is that we were started in 1919, and the intent at that time was to look after the widows and the orphans of the soldiers lost in the First World War. And of course, it became obvious that there were other people in the community as well, and it evolved over many, many years. And in the mid-40s, it was brought under one roof so that it was too much for the churches to do individually. So, but one of the things that when I give these little speeches out there, one of the things that I mention to a great extent is that the Christmas Cheerboard is here to do a number of things. It's to look after needy families at Christmas time, but it's also a way for making sure that people who have issues and who have difficulties, whether they be economic or otherwise, that they're made to feel like they're part of the community, that they're not on the fringe.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
But by the same token, it's also a way for the people who make the donations or volunteer their time to feel that they're part of the community. So we're really bringing the whole city together
like this whole-
in sort of it's a wonderful time of year, and I think it's an opportunity for us perhaps to have more Christmases every
Yes,
year.
more cheer. And that's so important now, don't you think, girls? Like, is bringing a community together. We live our lives so separately.
Well, I think, like when you talk about the 100th anniversary, so 1919 to 2000, so I don't want to say nothing's changed, but there will always be a need
Without doubt.
for people to be more connected to their community and for us to reach out and help those who are disenfranchised or marginalized in some way. And I think that, yes, this is the time of year of thinking about that, but I think that it's one of those things that we need to think about more throughout the year. And like you said, Winnipeg Harvest just put us out of business, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we try, every year to do that more and
know.
more. But our job is really to put them out of business one day,
Put them-
right?
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So now we can
Unfortunately,
solve.
I don't think that's.
No.
I mean, it's a
I
wonderful
know,
objective.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. But
But why
there's
is
always
that?
going to be a need,
Why-
right?
Why is that in
Oh.
this world?
Crazy.
I know.
Yeah.
How long do we have for
I
this
don't
show?
care.
Yeah.
I know. Oh, okay. It was a silly, I guess. But now I guess we're talking about year-end too. So we're going to talk now about things that come to mind for 2018. Could be newsworthy. We'll probably talk about things that were important. But for you,
mean-
Or even personally,
Personally,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
You.
you're going into your 50th year. I know that 2018.
Well, I
what kind
mean,
what year? What kind of a year was it for you?
Well, it's been a great year. I mean, I have been very, very fortunate in my life. I've been able to do these things in reasonably good health, and I had sort of given some thought to retiring. And then my board of directors sort of ganged up on me and said, well, because it's 99, 49, you better hang in for another year. And so
Yeah.
we'll have
Make
a
it
huge,
even.
huge celebration. And so that's the tentative plan for
Wonderful.
2019.
That's exciting. Something to look forward to next year.
Yeah.
Well, and I noticed that some of the volunteers here, I think they're whispering a lot in the background, and I think what they're doing is coming up with some goofy thing to do. I'm not really into that kind of stuff, but I have to sort of go along with it because they are.
Yes. Yes.
I would love for them to do a picture board of Kai over 50 years, and
Oh.
I bet you a bottom dollar he hasn't changed. He looks.
I haven't changed.
You haven't changed. You have not changed.
Same hair,
Yeah,
same
hair.
beard, same.
Yes.
But
He hasn't put on
Good,
an
but-
ounce. Yeah.
no, I haven't.
Yeah.
But,
See?
but then again, in fairness, my father was built exactly the same as me.
Okay.
And lived to be a ripe
Good
old
genes.
age, good health, and
Good
so on.
genes.
And you know, I can remember when he passed away. My mother says to me, he says, "Well, you and Dad wore the same clothes. You were the same conservative, and my dad was very prim and proper, and my grandfather's shoemaker. So in my house, shoes are the
I looked
thing."
right down at your shoes.
I know, yes.
We're all like,
Polished shoes,
Yeah,
yes.
and so I could still fit my dad's shoes. I could still fit my dad's
Yeah.
clothing. And so, but
Wow.
good
It's
thoughts and
amazing.
kind. Yeah, and reflections are always good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no.
So what about you,
So
Tracy?
happy.
2018.
2018, well, yeah, interesting. All about empowerment.
Yes.
And
You started this.
I know.
Yeah,
is
so I
wonderful.
feel like it was a transitional year for you.
It was.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
It's
feel like
hard
it was
to-
transition.
Yes, and you know, who knows, 2019, hopefully bigger and better.
Yeah.
But so it's all about, yeah, testing new waters, and it's a little kind of scary going off the diving board, but you know, and I met you girls.
Yeah,
I
and this
know
started.
it's-
This
Yeah,
has been
and
amazing.
Shayna, and you know, and I think that it's an amazing opportunity, and I really, from the bottom of my heart, every time we do these, I always learn more.
Yes.
So even you will learn more, Kai.
Yeah. Well, I learn every day.
I know. That's why
But it's
you're
interesting.
so wise.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because you've got the right thoughts and the right mindset to do what you're doing. And over the years, for some reason or other, when people have issues in their life, and particularly the kind of issue where they're given a golden handshake or they were laid off or any, it seems as if Kai is the guy with the broad shoulders and the ear, and so I have had so many friends over the years because it happens often nowadays.
Yeah.
And I always say to them, look at it as an opportunity. Because in all likelihood, you will close one door and another one will open. And I'm almost 100% certain that it's going to be a nicer opportunity.
Yes.
And you know what? Over the years, I probably had 50 people do this. They've all done better.
Wow.
Yeah.
All of them.
Wow.
A couple of them, unfortunately, have passed away, but,
Yeah.
but they were also quite old.
But even I think it's your own thought process as well. What are you thinking when those and at the time they feel like such challenges and struggles, like people lose jobs, life happens, somebody gets sick. There's all these huge things that happen that kind of shift you and they kind of knock you on your butt.
Yep.
I was going to say something else, but knock you on your butt a little. But what's your process and what's your thought process when those things are happening? Because there are some people who are unable to get
know.
up.
Yeah.
They're just unable to get up, and it just seems like it is the end of the world. And then there's the people who do shrug it off, and they have enough. There's something inside of you that just
Resilience.
says, there's a level of resilience, and you're like, meh, it
Yeah.
sucks, it doesn't feel
But
good.
but I think
I'll
this-
mourn it maybe,
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah, I know.
upset about it, but I'm moving forward. And
Yeah.
I think it's a skill, and I don't know if we're coming back to the youth and the kids and the next generations and all the stuff that we should also always be including in these conversations. Are we building and are we teaching that resilience in that next generation? Because I think that if we're not,
Yeah.
we're not going to have.
A very fulfilled.
Yeah.
Well, and how can
life,
we
community.
teach resilience when we have a generation that takes everything personally, right? So
Well,
that is, I
yeah.
think, one of the keys is that when you have a struggle or a conflict in your life, whether it's job, personal, whatever. Sometimes, yes, it's personal, but a lot of times it's just business or it's just the
Yeah.
way things are going to shake out, and
Yeah.
you have to not take it personally, internalize that thing, and make it, it was your fault, it was something about you, it was a negative thing, whatever, as opposed to saying, what can I learn from this that can make me a better person and move
And move
forward,
on,
right?
yes.
So.
Yeah.
Like when you're focused on likes and streaks and shares and things like that,
How do you-
I don't know if you're going to get that
No.
kind of lesson, right?
Yeah.
So I think
And
you really need to boil
it's
things
very
down.
But it's
Initial
okay if
to-
something's personal, though. Like,
Yes.
to be honest with you,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
there are some things that are personal.
There are.
You
I
may
know.
just not be a fit. You may not
That's
be
right.
good at what you do. You
That's
may
right.
just, but
But
you
there's room
have
for
to
improvement.
recognize that just because you're not a perfect fit for this issue
That's
or
right.
This
that's
job.
great. You found out early. Now you move on and you keep searching for the next thing.
Yeah.
But just going back to what you just kind of said too, what's fearful about this whole scenario about not having resilience and it's all about the likes, we don't live in a world where anyone has one job. And speaking to you, you've been in the position for 50 years. Like our generation, I don't
unheard of.
believe.
That's unheard of.
Yes. yes.
You know, I'm 41 and I've already flipped jobs 3 times. Like I've gone back to law, but now I'm doing something else. Like it's constant.
Yeah.
You're constantly morphing into, you know, and you may have a foundation. You know, so for me, my foundation is always legal. You know, but I always kind of branch off to different things.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
I come back to that. But I mean, I don't know if the next generation has the ability for that flow. Like, can you?
Well, I think I don't like the word job. I've never liked the word job,
Yeah.
and that's maybe why I'm not a good employee. But
I'm actually not a good employee.
what it boils down
Yeah.
to is your skills. Your
Yes.
skills are transferable, and I always tell people you are self-employed. Every single
Always.
day you are self-employed, and you choose to come here. You have a passion for what it is that you do, and if you weren't doing this here, you'd be doing something similar
Similar.
somewhere else,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Because it resonates with you. It makes you feel like you're doing what you're meant to do. It brings out the best in you, and that's
Yeah.
what I think any job or anything you get paid for should do. So your job will change, no doubt, and you
Agreed.
should not be in the same job for the next 50 years. My goodness, unless these kinds of things are kind of are not going to happen for the generation that
No.
we're looking at right now.
No.
But your skills will be the same. His skills have started in one place and
I know.
blossomed in this role.
But
and
what
that's
can
what
we
you have
learn
to think
from
about.
that,
How can
though?
you
I
make
don't
yourself
know.
blossom?
If,
Well, you
if
know
we
what?
could say that you can have a job for 50 years.
Well, I mean, this isn't a job.
No.
I worked for 30 years at a real job.
Yes, yes.
And
Yeah.
but just to come back to what you're saying about skills, I can remember having a chat with my kids one time, and like I was a sales manager before I became this engrossed with the cheerleader. And they said, "Well, what is that?" And, you know, I sort of semi-explained it, somewhat flippantly, but nevertheless. But I made this one comment, and that stuck with my daughter. I said, "Every one of us is a salesman.
Yeah.
Throughout life,
Yeah.
you are a salesman. Whether it be selling your kids on going to school, doing well, whether it's selling your wife on not buying that really expensive fur coat, we are all selling in some way.
Yeah.
And so, without salespeople, you can't operate.
No.
No.
I feel like there's a book I read about this. It's called
To sell is human?
To Sell is Human.
Yeah.
Yes, by Daniel Pink.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And it's
Yes.
a great book, and I think
is.
it does speak to this entire conversation. And I agree with you, Kai, 100%. I think that you're constantly, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure if it's a good or bad thing. It's just a fact of life that we're also selling. But I feel like this social media component of it is maybe taking it too far, because now you're selling yourself
Yes.
to get the likes.
You've
You're selling
become the
yourself-
commodity.
I know, it's all
Yeah.
different.
So
Yeah.
it is, again, it's always the balance, and I think that
I think
Yeah.
that what you really need more of is the personal connection. And I'm not talking this, but share. And I don't mean the technology share.
I know exactly what
exactly
you mean.
what you mean,
Yes.
yeah.
So in other words, we go through life, and I have always maintained that if you're really, really lucky, you will have 5 at most, 5 really, really close friends. Most of us don't. Might have 2 or 3. 5 is really a huge number.
Extraordinary. Yes.
But if you're lucky enough to have 5, share. And share your personal feelings and your personal concerns with those friends, because you've got a huge resource there, and make use of them and look after them. I
Yes.
mean, you should look after your friends more so than anyone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. I know you're more apt to share with a friend than a family member too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yes, because
sure.
family members, yes. Well,
Well, they have
they're
a
family.
they have a really vested interest.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
so.
I feel like for family, it's more stressful sometimes too. I
Yes.
take everything about my family personal, like it's to heart. And it weighs on
That
me.
doesn't
Like my
surprise me.
sister can have a bad day and she's on her own, and I just can't, like I don't have the capacity to deal with their sadness or their pain. So for me, like everything with my family is always just like, well, who's hurting, who's sad, who's happy, who's sick, who needs this. So my friends are kind
You
of a
carry
relief
the
of
whole
that.
load.
Well, because you love them, right? They're
Well,
your
yeah,
everything,
but
right?
you're only one person.
I know, but you know, it's just, but that's the way our family structure,
Yeah.
it just is. But no, you know, it's true, and it's a good conversation for this time of year. You know, end of the year. I think that one thing I'm trying to do this year is kind of reflect back on relationships. You know, I feel like I've built a lot of really good relationships. I've lost some relationships just due to differences, and you have to make a decision about, you know,
Is that a good one? Yeah.
Would I choose this person to be in my life today had I not just randomly met them through this process? But I think it's always good. It's always good to have those processes, and you know, end of years are always so important. I find them just critically important because
Sounds like for you, checks and balances.
checks and balances, and what did I
Yeah.
do, and what did I want to do, and what did I achieve, and what did I accomplish,
that's
and who
good.
did I take care of, and who did I let down, and you know, like you want to have the.
That's always tough.
What about you,
But
Susie?
it's good though.
2018. I'm looking forward to next year already now. I've said that so much
That's
in
the
the last
right way
couple
to
weeks.
approach
Yeah,
it.
I'm just ready for the next year already.
Right.
And not that I, have anything bad that I'm trying to, get rid of or anything like that. But yeah, I'm just ready to meet 2019 full force. And yeah. And when I was a kid, the number 2020 seemed so far away.
Oh,
like,
man.
remember 2020, A Space Odyssey? It's just
Yes.
like, that
Oh my
seems
God.
like forever. And now it's like right around the corner. So I
How about
mean,
1984?
oh, exactly, right? Yeah.
I remember
like-
1984. We had a song for 1984.
My goodness, time is flying, and I feel that way.
Yes.
When I look at my kids, I think
Oh, I
time is
know.
flying, and I'm trying to soak up as much as I can of their childhood, and being with them, and enjoying them, and watching them grow. But I don't want to rush that part, right? So
I know. That's
Yeah.
a scary thing. There's some, things that okay, let's just move on. But there's some things that you would just like to.
Hang
It'd
on
be
to.
nice to let them stay as they are, maybe
Yeah.
for a little while
And
longer.
Christmas is always
Yeah.
nice for me, because I always think back to when I had my first baby, Jack, and it was my favorite Christmas ever, because everything is special when you have
Oh,
that
yes.
first baby, right? And
Yeah.
he was my little elf, and we just did everything together, and we hung out, and we, it was such a special time, and I always think of that, and each subsequent child was special, but that first one is just like, wow, get to see
Firstborn.
everything through their eyes now, and it's so new
So
and
how many
fresh and
kids?
sweet.
Yeah.
I have 3.
Oh,
Yes.
so you have a middle child.
I do, and
Have you
he's
read
delightful.
have you read the studies?
I love middles. He's delightful. Yeah, middles are so wonderful in their own special way. But yes,
Well, they've got
no,
this study now from Redmond in University in
Okay.
the United States, which studied, 317,000
Oh, wow.
Okay.
kids or something like this. But the focus was.
Are you a middle?
No.
Okay.
Are you?
But
no,
the
I'm not.
focus was, what impact does it, being a middle child,
Yes.
have in terms of your success in life and,
Okay.
and so on? And it was very,
Tell me it was good.
in some ways, yes.
Oh,
In other
so-
ways,
okay.
not necessarily.
No, interesting.
They tend to be quite different,
Yes.
apparently. But probably more because they had to, as a middle child, they had to negotiate.
Yes, I can see
They're
that
the
totally.
negotiators,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Yes.
so, they've got one younger, one
Yes.
older,
Yes.
and
Play the
so
middle.
Yeah.
it's sort of they're better at compromising,
Okay.
apparently.
I wouldn't know.
I'm gonna have to figure that out. Yeah. And then I saw a headline yesterday. I didn't read the article, but I'm gonna have to try and find it. That said, smaller families are eliminating the middle child.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
people are
That
only
was
having
part of
one
the
or
study.
two.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Maybe that's what it
Yeah.
was then. I'll have to go
Yeah.
back and read it. Because if you don't have more than 2, then there's no middle
There's no
child.
middle
So
child.
That's right.
Middle child.
Yeah.
And I think we're less than 2 already.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
probably.
1.7 or
yeah,
something.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, sir.
Well,
the,
thank you
the
so much for
lunchtime
having me.
crew is coming in, and it was delightful. It was
Absolutely.
nice.
I enjoyed the chat.
Big shout out to your crew here. They're
Yeah,
amazing.
absolutely.
Yes, and
It
all
takes
the
almost
volunteers.
4,000.
I believe it.
Amazing.
I believe
Yes.
it.
We,
Oh,
So your
wow.
we have,
volunteers working hard behind us, in
well,
front of
yeah.
us.
But
Yes.
it takes 1,000 volunteer kids to pack.
And if people want to volunteer with you, how do they do that?
Or they can just roll in now, because
Okay.
the main focus now is make sure we get the hampers delivered
Right.
on time.
Right.
And
So they can just show up here and
just
say,
show
what can
up,
I do?
So
bring
you're
their
on the
driver's
corner of St.
license and
James and
ID
St.
so that we know who they are
Perfect.
and that things are kosher.
Yeah.
And then we make sure we load them
That's
up.
great.
And the key, of course, is that you don't have to say, oh gosh, I've got to find a whole day you can come down and do it for a couple of hours
Yes.
because our delivery sheets are set up in such a way that you can deliver 4 hampers, and then if you want to do more, you come back and get more. Or if you've got enough time, take 8
Yes.
or 12.
Oh my goodness. Do you
Perfect.
still
I
know
like
the
that.
magic phone number?
989-5680.
989-5680.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
if anyone could come help out,
Yep.
just
Yes.
drop on in.
And of
or
course,
make
don't
a
forget,
call.
the bottom line is important.
Yeah.
Send your check.
Yes.
And,
Send money.
Yes.
Oh,
I hate to
wow.
be harping on this all
No,
the time,
it's-
but
it's a necessity.
realities of life.
It's a harsh truth, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can stretch that dollar too, which I think people
course.
need to know.
So much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
All right, sir.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Amazing.
and
Thank you so
Merry
much.
Christmas to
Merry
all of
Christmas.
you.
Merry
Happy New Year.
Christmas.
Enjoy your
everyone.
families.
Yes,
Yeah.
you too.
It was
All
wonderful.
right.
Thanks for
Sure.
joining us.
And all the best. Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays to everyone, and
Happy
we'll be
holidays,
back in the
everybody.
new year.
And
Happy
don't forget to watch
holidays.
this.
Yes,
Merry
see you in
Christmas.
2019.
Yay.
All right.
Right on.
Or in my native tongue, Clearly You.